you can go from this to in a cult. It's easier than one might think.
Ooh, aren't you tired of the truth being too hard to tell?
Dancing with the devil, out of control. It's too deep for me. I can't do it, Demi. Are there ghosts in here? Are there spirits? They have trauma. Because I just started singing.
She has trauma.
She does?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How do you know?
That's why she doesn't like men.
Okay. I respect that. that.
Dancing with the devil, out of control. Almost made it to heaven. It was closer than you know. Mima's favorite brisket recipe. Get into it. Hello and welcome to Here for the Chaos. Here for the cult. That's why I have mysterious dark makeup on today, because I want it to look culty. It's giving cult. Wow, slay. Cunt. It's giving cunt. It's giving cunty cult. I want it to look like a Black Widow, okay? I want it to look scary. Boo. I am your host, Lilac. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, listen to my music, because today we are going to get back into it. And you know we got that clean audio to make up for my pink sauce video. But if you haven't seen that,
Don't be fucking rude.
we're judging. You and me, we're judging, okay? We have to be in the same team. So listen, unified front. I'm judging, you're judging, right? Okay, well, yeah, we're judging.
Eat shit, losers.
So yeah, we're just gonna get into this because I have to catch a flight here soon and I haven't packed or done nothing. So that's not good. And I have a freaking assignment that's due today and I have to edit this today because I have a doctor's appointment tomorrow. So I'm very stressed, which is why you should subscribe. So today, was getting a little nervous, I guess. I'm trying to have this as close to my mouth as possible because that's how I heard that you get the best sound. That's how you get the best sound. What am I doing? It's 3 minutes in. Okay, so today we are going to be talking about the Wilkinson sisters, otherwise known as the sisters that are the stars of Netflix's new documentary,
Dancing for the Devil.
and I already fucked up. It's the Wilking sisters, not Wilkinson. Stupid. I promise I actually do research. It's just like once I get in front of the camera, my whole brain just stops. And I'm sure y'all can tell, right? We're on the same, yeah, we got it. Today, we're gonna be talking about how you can go from this to in a cult. It's easier than one might think, okay? Yeah, we're talking about the Wilking sisters and Miranda, which is kind of like the main one in this story. I recognized her, okay? I've seen her on YouTube doing all of this, and then her legs be doing this. And I'm like, how did she do that? But I didn't know that there was a cult involved. I wouldn't have been as impressed. I would have been like, oh, of course her legs be doing all this. She's probably eating baby snails. I don't know. What do they do in a cult? Anyways, Melanie and Miranda Wilking are two sisters that started a dance TikTok channel. Am I 40 million years old? A dancing TikTok page? They danced on TikTok, okay? And they had like 3 million followers, so it was going really well. It was cute. They would do other challenge videos. It was just like the perfect, pretty sisters doing what has to be done on TikTok. Shaking some ass. I can hear my boyfriend watching my video out there in the living room. That's cute. That's support. In this Netflix documentary, which I watched a little bit of, but not the whole thing, but I got a 6-hour layover, so I'm gonna be sure to watch it now. The family sat down and they were essentially talking about how the two sisters were dancers together until they got a message from a very popular dancer called B-Dash. His real name is James, and he's very well respected in the dance community. So getting a message from him is like crazy. They do a collab with him and they all get in a group chat, Melanie, Miranda, and James. And then Melanie says that she was kicked out of the group chat and Miranda and James began talking. So it's clear there was some chemistry there and they soon after started to date. And keep in mind that while Miranda and James are beginning their relationship, they're around Miranda's family all the time, and the family loves him. They welcome him with open arms, and they love his personality, and they think that they're great together. That'll be important later. As their relationship progresses, Miranda starts to learn about people in James' life and his videographer, Isaiah. Now, Isaiah gonna open the door to the upside down. He gonna open the door to heck. How dare you open the door to heck? So Isaiah is the son of Robert Shin, and he is our main antagonist in the story. He is the owner of 7M Management Company, which is the company that manages all the dancers, including Miranda, and of Shekinah Church. So Isaiah and James would have filming days, and on these filming days, James is telling his friends that they need to come check out Isaiah's dad's church and kind of listen to what he has to say. And this is the time when Robert got exposed to all of these young dancers. One day, James is talking about how he is struggling to find brand deals like some larger creators, and Robert's ears perk up. They go, we talking about money? So Robert overheard that, and he's like, I'm down to make money off of y'all. Bet. So he starts to form 7M Management. Cut to a little more into the relationship. When Miranda and Melanie would get on the phone, Miranda is telling Melanie that she goes over to James' house sometimes and they do Bible study together. Now, this caught the family off guard because they've never been particularly religious, but these Bible study sessions were also really intense. In the documentary, they said they would go on for hours and hours and hours. One of the girls was even insinuating she thought her boyfriend was cheating on her, but he was just at Bible study, which if I heard that and it was 5 hours later, I would still think he's cheating on me. But you know what? To each their own. In the name of the Lord. It is Sunday, so it's the Lord's Day. So then in fall of 2020, Melanie went to meet Miranda for one of these dinners. And essentially, Robert does that thing, that quirky little thing that we all love when people do at church, where they basically go like, you're going to hell. What did you do today? Eat chips? Hell. What did you do today? Skip around? Hell. Did you have a good day today? You're about to have a bad day in hell. Hell. And we all love when they do that. We love that motivating speech that we all are going to heck. Robert is like, I can fix this. I can make sure that you're not going to hell, even though you totally are. And we're all just going to start speaking in tongues to you. My mother's side of my family is very religious. They have spoken in tongues before. I'm not sure that I really get what's happening or going on. No tea, no shade, but it really seemed like when Robert was doing it, because they played a little clip, that man didn't know what the heck. Listen, it was clear to me at least. Maybe tongues is real. Maybe it really happens. He wasn't saying nothing. He was going, and at the end of it, they said, you're welcome. We just saved you from hell. So eventually Miranda decides to join the church. I don't know why, but that's what she decides. And the whole family is hesitant because they're like, first of all, we're not religious, but this guy seems strange and it just doesn't seem right. It doesn't feel right. Something's not sitting right. So as they go forward in the church and with this management company, Robert is promising a lot. He is giving them people who will fully film and edit their content for them. He's telling them he can make them rich. He can get them cars. He can get them homes. He can get them whatever their little heart desires. And exclusive invitation only church services. So you can get told that you're going to hell. Then we get to the real crazy part. The money, 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 money. Give it to me or you're going to hell. Melanie decided this was not for her, but Miranda says, sign me the heck up because I'm scared. And you know what? I receive that energy. I understand that energy. In the meantime, though, all of the content that they were making, any money they made, they had a 20% management fee. And then they were told to give, or not told, encouraged to give a 10% tithing fee to the church. 10% man of God, aka the pastor, aka Richard, who's already the CEO and owner of the management company, but also the church, and a 10% offering fee. So what are we at now? 50%? And it ended up coming out that it was more like 98%. There was literally a creator that made 100K and he gave 98,000. 98,000. Y'all hear me? 98,000,000,000. Back to the church. You know how much you'd have to pry that out of my cold, anxiety-induced hands? $98,000. You not taking no $98,000 out of my pocket. That's crazy. I make $100K and I walk away with $2K. That's gonna make Jesus need Jesus the way that has me feeling. But anyways, they were running out of money. And this was explained in the documentary as well because the parents of Miranda had access to her bank account and they could see money coming in and then just as quickly going back out. And they could tell that she had no money. Things slowly start to get more distant between Miranda and her family. She's not really talking to them that much. And it comes up that their peepaw, I'm sorry. I've lived in the South, but I don't know anybody that actually says peepaw, meemaw. What do you call uncles? Eeaw? Hee-haw? I'm sorry, I'm really not trying to be insensitive. It's just like, peepaw is a funny name. So their peepaw, I really don't know. Someone in their family, I'm assuming their grandpa, is sick and he is dying. And they tell Miranda, hey, he's not going to make it much longer, so you need to come back home to say your goodbyes. This will be important later. But essentially, Miranda says 30 minutes before leaving to the airport that she has COVID and she can't go. And the family is understandably like, what? Like 30 minutes before you just randomly have COVID and like that doesn't really seem like it's checking out there, girl. She wouldn't even come a couple days after the service. Like she was just not having it. Then she starts ghosting her family and they understandably get worried. So they get the police involved. The police said that she's with a friend who happens to be Robert Shin's daughter, and they say that she's fine. They say she's well-spoken, she seems fine. She just said that her and her family are not seeing eye to eye right now, so she's keeping her distance. It was later revealed that she was not able to go to the funeral because Robert had told her in order to get permission, she needed to get permission from someone who was closer to God. Assuming that we're made to assume that that is Robert's, I don't know. But if I heard this as a parent, I'd be scared. And in that moment, they said they realized they had lost their daughter, which is exactly how I would feel. So the reason that she ghosted her family was because Robert had told all of the members of 7M they needed to die to themselves and die to their family, which essentially means cutting all communication and only keeping communication to yourself and people within the church. This ensures that you and your family go to heaven. So Miranda does so. She cuts everyone off because she thinks that this is how they get to heaven, which is incredibly sad. And also, if someone tries to isolate you, that's when you run. Okay, I don't care who it is. You don't stick around for somebody that's like, you have to cut off absolutely everyone you know except for this group. That is how you get brainwashed. That's how you get trapped in a cult. Robert had even asked one of the members to die to his child son, like his toddler son, and never see his son again. Miranda then ends up getting engaged to James. She changes her last name, and her family finds out about this through social media, which is a horrible way to find that out. And they try to congratulate her. They would just get blocked. They were blocked on everything. They even were commenting like, I hope you get all the love you deserve on this day. And as soon as they would comment on one of their profiles, they would immediately get blocked. So then Miranda's parents decided to start reaching out to other members' parents to see if they're experiencing the same thing, and they were. Unfortunately, when they got together, they realized there was nothing they could do. They were calling the authorities, but the authorities were saying because these are adults, there's not much we can do. You know, they're not under 18, they're full-grown adults. It's their choice to stay or to leave. And that's really sad that there's not really anything to keep adults from being exploited. I also think it's really interesting that allegedly Miranda changed her entire physical appearance because of this cult, which reminds me of one of my favorite movies in the whole world, Spirited Away, when Chihiro had to change like her name and everything about her. It is very much giving that vibe, which is scary. Eventually, Melanie starts getting questions about where Miranda is. Why are you posting by yourself? Where's Miranda? And Melanie posts a short TikTok trying to say that Miranda has decided to pursue other endeavors.
Hey everyone! So many of you have noticed that Miranda and I have not been in videos together lately, and I've been getting a lot of messages asking where she's at, what's going on, all of that. So I'm here to let you know that Miranda has chosen to pursue some other opportunities at this time and just take a little break from the Wilking Sisters brand. I will still be here making videos. My goal is to always put a smile on your face, and you know, sometimes you just need a little change. And Miranda's still my best friend. I love her so much. I will always support her. And I just hope that I can have all of your support on this new journey. Love you guys. Mwah. Bye.
But then shortly after, Melanie and her parents get on live and they're like, look, this is what's happening. We are completely isolated from this member of our family. She joined this group and now we can't get in touch with her. We don't know what's happening. Other parents are experiencing the same thing and we think this could be a cult.
Miranda, James, all these people that they're with, they're not in control of their lives. Someone else is controlling their lives and they're all victims of this. And it would be so easy to just like forget about, oh, screw her, you know, like she doesn't care about us anymore, but we know that's not her.
And now this is where the story blows up because obviously Robert sees this and he's like, well, we can't have people talking about us like this. This is not gonna work. And it goes crazy viral. So Robert starts freaking out and he goes, okay, never mind. You actually can go hang out with your family. There are certain things that have to come along with that. So she goes to meet her parents and immediately, as soon as she sees them, she starts going live. And she's like, you know, since they want to make it public and make our lives public, why don't we see if you have anything to say? And she goes to her parents and it's so sad because they're like, we love you, we miss you. And she's just so cold. She's like rolling her eyes and she's just like, yeah, whatever.
Hi guys, we are live. We're in Detroit, Michigan. This is my husband James. This is my mom Kelly and my dad Dean. Since they wanted to make our lives public, we're gonna go live. Do you guys have anything to say to the live stream?
I love you, Miranda, and I miss you.
Yeah, love you. We're excited to see her in person.
They then sit down at a table where Miranda and her husband James try to tell her parents that they need to delete everything on social media that has to do with her. She wants to start new. And they also asked to film the whole conversation, which the parents said no. And the parents got up and left. And there was another interaction in the documentary where the mom came up and tried to talk to Miranda. And she said, you know, are you okay? I'm just really worried about you. And Miranda said, is that it? Like, is that really all you had to tell me? Okay, you can leave now. And they just said she was virtually unrecognizable. But behind the scenes, other dancers said she would be crying because she misses her family so much, but she was dying to them. So at this point, Robert is kind of panicking, but he and Miranda are denying all of these claims that have come out in the documentary. Robert is saying that Miranda's family is trying to control her. Miranda is going with it because she's brainwashed. It's just this huge mess.
Are you in a cult? No. I'm not in a cult. I'm in a house. I'm in a marriage. But I'm not in a cult.
During this time, James is posting online that there are two sides to every story. Miranda's family never supported their relationship because they're racist. And they literally had home clips in the documentary of them all driving around, joking, laughing, and whatever. So obviously that's not true. It's a pretty horrible thing to accuse someone of being racist when they've never showed you that behavior, at least to what we see. Maybe, who knows? But it just is so interesting the lengths they're willing to go to defend this cult. Robert starts panicking and asking people to sign NDAs, which perks the ears of a few members. Like, what is going on? Because they see that he's like, okay, go hang out with your family so we look normal and blah, 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 blah. That's when the members start talking and they start putting two and two together that maybe this isn't exactly what they thought it was. And they're putting together all the little things Robert has told them. They're putting together the sexual harassment that has happened and that they just all have these weird occurrences that everyone has experienced. You know, it's being said that apparently the church started well, but greed does what greed does best. And it turned Robert into this person who controlled what all of these people under him did, where they lived, what they could spend their money on, which was him. And he was also convincing the women that to be with him is a godly act that will purify them, which is horrifying and disgusting, which is a part of what the members were putting together, that they all had these shared experiences. His own daughter left the church, which of course convinced a lot of the current members to leave because his own daughter is not even supporting him. But for some reason, Miranda is, and still to this day is, a part of whatever is happening here. He put Miranda on Ellen. He was putting them on red carpets. He was getting them brand deals. He was getting them all this money, which enticed them to stay. But in turn, my question is, but you then had to turn around and give it right back to him. So what is the enticing factor of him? I guess I just don't understand. After this point, Miranda sees her family more and more, but they're feeling like it's all for the public perception and not because she actually wants to see them. And she's also only hanging out with them under the guise that they do not mention the church at all, or she will leave and she will cut them off. As more and more members start leaving, things start kicking up. Okay, Robert is actually being sued. Robert sued some of the members and former members of the church for defamation for calling his church and this management company a cult. In return, the former members file a counter complaint, a countersuit for fraud, forced labor, human trafficking, and sex trafficking. The trial is set for July 2025, and we're gonna find out a lot more around then. I can only imagine. Miranda's family was also trying to build a criminal case against him, but they were advised that they would need more girls to step forward, and even when more girls did step forward, he was not arrested. Are we surprised? Unfortunately, sadly, no. So now we get to the statements. 7M made a statement after the documentary came out, and this is what they had to say. The Netflix docuseries is a slanderous work of fiction born from a failed extortion attempt. Who's extorting you? Netflix? I don't think they would need to do that. The families? I don't think they would need to do that either. And invented for the sole purpose of gaining fame and fortune. And their co-conspirators launched a concerted smear campaign to defame Robert Shin, his family, and his business associates after Mr. Shin did not capitulate to Miss Lee's extortion demands. I love when people write in third person when we know it's you writing this, Robert. Despite sworn statements from co-conspirators that confirmed the scheme by Mrs. Goldman and Miss Lee to disseminate widespread lies, Netflix recklessly provided a global platform to peddle a false narrative that is at the center of ongoing litigation. We will continue to pursue all legal remedies available to stop the spread of salacious lies and expect to be fully vindicated in court. And they have the comments turned off. Yeah. Are we buying it? No, we're not. We're not caring about that. We're wiping our butts with that. We're going to hell with that. Hell yeah, brother. So obviously people were like, what the hell was that? And Melanie and the family have also made a statement, so I will read that as well. Melanie posted on her story, "My parents and I would like to start by thanking everyone from the bottom of our hearts for all the love and support. I held off sharing this project until after my honeymoon, but now that I'm back, I wanted to share the heartbreaking documentary my family and I were part of. This opportunity was made possible by the beautiful people who listened to our cry for help and took action. Opening up about our family's circumstances and filming the documentary was extremely difficult, but it has brought so much light to a terrible situation." She also said, this is a long-winded family, and I'm not criticizing them. This is a crazy situation. I would be as long-winded as they are too, but I'm not good at reading. Okay, so it's a struggle for me over here. "Since the beginning of this project, we have witnessed many members break free from Robert and his associates. Sharing our story helped many under Robert's control question their circumstances and ultimately walk away. We hope this documentary continues to raise awareness and shows that social media often hides harsh realities. We are grateful that many who have broken free have joined us in our fight for justice. Thankfully, since going public in 2022, we have reunited with my sister who even attended my wedding. We believe that one day my sister and the other victims will realize their love for their families and faith was exploited. When that happens, we will be here for them without judgment. We have all been hurt, but believe our family will get through this. People will become more aware and educated about high control groups, and justice will be served. Thank you again for all your love and support. We could never have done this without it." So a nice statement. We'll touch on Miranda going to the wedding in a little bit. Miranda and James have been posting as usual, but they've been monitoring the comments, deleting the comments. They've been turning them on and off. And Miranda actually made a statement, and it's a long one. So grab some popcorn, some wine, some snacks, whatever you need to grab, because we're on the highway to heck. She started with this video on her story.
Hey guys, I hope you're having a wonderful day. I just wanted to hop on here really quick and first of all say thank you so much to everybody who's been so supportive during this time. In the next couple slides, I've included my statement of this documentary that's just been released. I can't go into too much detail because of legal purposes, but I just wanted to add my side of the story a little bit. Thank you so much for taking a read. Have a great day. Bye.
So here is Miranda's statement. "Hey everyone, just wanted to hop on here and say that I have seen the documentary. I want to start by saying that I appreciate the concern that has been expressed for my well-being. Due to pending litigation in which I am a plaintiff in a defamation lawsuit," so she's on Robert's side in the lawsuit, "it's not appropriate for me to comment on specific allegations, though I will state that I do not condone abuse in any way. I cannot speak for anyone else but myself. I love my mom, dad, and Melanie, and they will forever be a part of my life. The truth is, we just don't see eye to eye at this time. I believe that this documentary is a one-sided story. I gave my life to Jesus Christ in 2020 and asked my family for some space in the very beginning to collect my thoughts and process my new walk I wanted to take with God. I also told my sister that I wanted to continue our Wilking Sisters social media page. She logged me out of our accounts, and when I asked for access back, she denied my request. We'll talk more on that later. So I had no other choice but to start my own account and pursue my own career. I still have yet to receive access into our account. My family didn't honor the space that I asked for, and I saw a different side of them I've never seen before. Honestly, it made me mad, frustrated, and annoyed that they were being so overbearing and chaotic. In 2020, I went to Michigan to visit my family for Christmas. My papa was taken to the hospital due to medical issues. We got a phone call saying that he had a short time before he would pass. Melanie and I drove to the hospital to say our last goodbyes. Before we went into the hospital to do so, I started to pray for our papa in the car, and Melanie got offended, angry with me, and told me to stop and to never pray around her. Our papa passed away that day. What a horrible time to not know how to read. Fast forward about a month and a half, Melanie and I were in LA and we're about to head back to Michigan for our papa's funeral. I was at a place with my family where I felt like I was being harassed. My parents and sister are not religious. They immediately called me going to church twice a week a cult. That's not why they said it. I felt that if I went back for the funeral, they would try to keep me there and not let me come back to LA. It's interesting she sees them as controlling when it's obviously Robert that's being controlling. So I told my family that I would not be going to Michigan and that I wanted to move in and begin my life with James. To keep it simple, I did not want to be around them at that time because I felt threatened by them. I have been getting together with them over the past couple years to make amends, move on, and work things out as a family. This documentary has created a further challenge between us as I work to overcome this public attack. I don't think they're attacking you. I think they're more so attacking Robert, but okay. No one likes to be portrayed as their brainwashed / not in control of her own life / shell of herself / human trafficked daughter / sister when that just isn't the truth. I will add that I would have preferred that my family's circumstances remain private. I'm forced and feel like I have no other choice but to defend myself because of all of this. I can't convince anyone to believe anything. I'm just a woman trying to live my life. I am not a victim. I am not in any harm. I am not being abused. I've never asked my family or anyone else to help me in any way. Respectfully, what I choose to do with my life is up to me. As I take time to process and reflect on the situation, I would appreciate your continued support. Thank you, Miranda Derrick. I'm sorry, girl, but that's just it's giving cult, okay? It's giving that you just haven't realized it yet, but it is giving cult. So now that brings us kind of up to speed to current day, where we have some additional statements from one of the former members, Kylie Douglas and Melanie Wilkins, because Access Hollywood has done some interviews. So we're going to insert some clips and we're going to wrap this up in a neat little bow and put it on a present to the devil. I'm kidding. Okay. I did also want to point out that Miranda, people were saying they don't know if she even wrote her statement because she didn't say it. She just put it on Instagram, but also people are saying she's in the middle of litigation. So do with that what you want. So we start with Kylie, where she's describing her experience and why she was resistant to seeing the truth the more it was pointed out to her. But then she started to feel drained and started realizing things. And like I said, started talking with the other members and got a clear perspective on what was happening.
Feel this is a cult. Like, did that word ever come up in your mind? Or was that something that you started to consider once the news spread like wildfire, once Melanie and her family called it out and essentially said that that's what it was?
I think that even pushed me more to say, no, that's not what it is. Because when everybody's saying one thing, I didn't want to think that. I didn't want to believe that, because those were my friends. This is my family at the time that we're talking about. But it was when I realized it on my own, in my own timing, when, things actually started affecting my mental, when I was like fully mentally drained and clocking out and, isolated more. That's when I realized, okay, this is not what I thought it was.
And then we go into something really interesting, which was, did she feel brainwashed? Did she feel controlled at that time? And she goes into, yes, but it was kind of hard not to give into that because there were so many things being given to them and they were pitted against each other and he was controlling every aspect of their life.
Miranda's family members fully believe that she has been brainwashed. Did you ever feel, and when you look back at your experience, do you ever feel like that was the case for you?
Yeah, I definitely feel like the amount of control over each person is enough to make you not think like yourself anymore. When you're in there, you may not realize that you're not thinking like yourself, but when you're under training like that and you're under guidance like that, you can't help but to, fall into that category of not thinking like yourself and being, brainwashed.
We then get to the part of the interview where she breaks down the money splits and explains how they were pressured into giving pretty much all their money to Robert.
Obviously, you are being provided the resources to produce this content. That takes money.
Right.
Talk to me a little bit about revenue. Were you all making money? How did it work? Did you have to share it?
So within the church, there's something called 10-10-10 that we, our mentors wanted us to participate in, which was 10% of your income going to man of God, 10% going to tithes, and 10% going to offering. And
so what is man of God?
That's the pastor of the church.
Okay, so
directly
10 going to Robert.
10%.
Okay.
Then when you look at management fees, and some people are giving more than others, mine was 20%.
Wait, man of God wasn't the management fees?
No, those are all for the church.
Then we go over to Melanie, who explains her current relationship with Miranda and explains that the documentary frayed that relationship, which is something they were concerned about. They figured it was going to happen. They didn't want her to get punished more for them exposing it, but ultimately it was what they felt like they had to do. And the interviewer asks, why would you make this documentary if you know that it could fray that relationship? And they said that this information just needed to go out there, and they understood the risk of their relationship taking damage and being collateral damage, but it was for a greater purpose that they hoped would ultimately wake Miranda up, and they still have that hope.
Talk to me a little bit about your relationship with your sister now, because from what I understand, it does look as if there's some sort of relationship you've been able to maintain, right?
Yes, yeah. We talk here and there. Once the documentary released, I did reach out, but I haven't heard anything back. I know on both sides emotions are high. It's definitely a difficult time, so I didn't expect a respond.
In the docuseries, we see your family struggling with having to pretend that everything is fine to be close to Miranda. So I'm curious to know, what was the catalyst for you to do the docuseries? If you were afraid or nervous that it might push her further away?
It was definitely a risk, but I think when we went live, then something happened. It was, finally the word was out. We heard from Miranda, dancers are leaving. So when we got approached for the documentary, we were very hesitant because at that point we had heard from my sister. So it was just a very delicate situation. But at the end of the day, we knew that we needed to educate more people and spread the word so that Robert can't do this to more people. And when we did go live, then we found out so much more information, like how he's been doing this for over 25 years.
And then they go into the fact that Miranda went to Melanie's wedding, even though nobody was allowed to go to Miranda's and they didn't even know about it. She said it was good, but it was busy. They kind of address Miranda's statement, starting with the part where Miranda says she felt like the documentary was one-sided, and Melanie goes on to explain that they asked her and James for their perspective many times, but they kept declining. So she's like, I can't really give your side of the story if you don't tell me your side of the story. You know what I mean?
And when it comes to the docuseries, from what I understand, you discussed or maybe asked for her to be a part of it, or asked if she was open to being a part of it?
My parents asked her, and her and James both did decline. And that was another main reason why we decided to do the documentary, as well as we wanted to make sure that we were a voice for Miranda and she wasn't spun as, a crazy, naive girl. Like, no, she is a victim. They're all victims. And we wanted to make sure that was very clear.
Miranda posted and sort of acknowledged the docu-series and shared her perspective. There are a couple of things that we just want to go over in that. She's claimed that, it was one-sided with the production of the documentary, but it sounds like that's not necessarily the case, right?
they were reached out to many times and declined every time.
Miranda also said that she felt they just didn't support her religious journey, and Melanie says that the reason they didn't was because Melanie went to some of these church events and saw the red flags. And they said it had nothing to do with her spirituality and her wanting to explore that. If she explored it in any other environment that was healthy, they would have been fine with it. It was the environment she was choosing to explore it in and the people she was exploring it with that they were not supportive of.
You and your family were not supportive when she dedicated her life back to God in 2020. Do you feel like that's true? What do you feel about kind of the things that she's said?
At that point, we knew she was in a cult. So of course we are going to have our guard up. And I was telling her all of the things. I mean, I went to 2 of their private dinners and 2 of the services that you have to be invited to. And I was invited to those. And I picked up on all of these red flags. And so when she's saying that we weren't supportive, it was because I was seeing what she wasn't seeing. I was seeing all those red flags. I was seeing that they wanted to, because I wasn't going anymore, they wanted to rip us apart and all those things. It was like, no, that's not going to happen. And sure enough, look where we are. Of course, if she was, wanting to further her spiritual journey in a way that wasn't with someone like Robert Shin, that would be fantastic. But we knew the situation and we're trying to avoid all of this.
Kind of end it with talking about Miranda's accusation of being locked out of the account. And Melanie says that this was true. It was around their grandfather's funeral where she was getting messages from Miranda's phone, but they were clearly not Miranda. Like, she knows how her sister talks and it wasn't her sister. So she was like, shoot, I better change the account information because I don't know who I'm talking to right now. So she changed the TikTok and she texted her and said, hey, I'm changing the login information, but I'd be happy to give it to you if I can just hear your voice and we can talk this out. And she said from that point, she didn't hear from Miranda for over a year.
Miranda said that you locked her out of the Wilkins sisters Instagram account and that's the reason that she started her own solo account. What's your response to that?
Taking us back to that day, that was the day that she refused to get on the plane to go to my grandfather's funeral. And we reference this in the documentary. She claims it was COVID, but then admitted to me that it had nothing to do with her being sick and she just couldn't go because she had to ask someone that was closer to God to come home. I'm with my parents. They picked me up from the airport. We're all freaking out and we couldn't get a hold of her. Then I'm getting messages back from her that were obviously not written by her. I mean, I know my sister and I know words were used that she would never use, grammar, just things. I'm like, I know my sister wasn't her. And so then I'm thinking about, oh my gosh, we've spent years for our career and I don't know who has her phone because this is not Miranda messaging me. So I went into our accounts and I realized that our TikTok was under my phone number. So I was able to change our password. And so I did that to protect us. And I messaged her saying, because she said that I locked her out. And I said, well, when I hear your voice and we can meet up and talk about what's happening, I will gladly give you the login. I just don't know who I'm talking to right now. And I didn't hear her voice for over a year.
Yeah, and it just ends with them talking about their parents and the impact it's had. And obviously it's hard. I can't imagine being a parent and like having your kid, but not having your kid, because in the documentary, Melanie basically said it feels like her sister died. And I could see how they feel that way. I mean, she just completely is cold and cut off and distant and not the same person. She said it made her parents doubt that they were good parents and how could this happen? And just a lot of really sad stuff that I hope that they're able to get some closure on with everything happening. Miranda is still locked in with 7M and Robert. Doesn't seem like that's going to change anytime soon, but it is interesting that all this has come out, like how many people are starting to put 2 and 2 together. That's about it, because this is going to be a long one already. And like I said, I got to edit it quickly. So let me know what you want me to talk about in the comments below. Let me know if you saw my last video. If you didn't, what the hell? You're going to hell. Somebody please put a counter for how many times I said that in this video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, listen to my music, and I will see you next time. Bye.
Ooh, I choose